Thank you very much. Can we get a call to order, please? Roll call.
Commissioner Mohajer?
Here.
Commissioner Seifert?
Here.
Commissioner Lopez is absent. Commissioner Dickerson is absent. Chair Blanco.
Here. Okay. Usually I read some rules of the meeting, but I don't see those here today. Frank, did we go right into public comment period, or do we have, I guess that public comment period, number 3, does explain it. So public comment period, so speakers may provide public comments on any matter within the subject matter jurisdiction of the commission. Each speaker will be limited to 3 minutes, maximum 15 minutes for public comment, unless the majority of the commission objects. The chair may provide speakers more or less time to speak. All comments or queries shall be addressed to the commission as a body and not to any specific member thereof. And pursuant to Government Code Section 54954.2A2, the Ralph M. Brown Act, no action or discussion by the commission shall be undertaken on any item not appearing on the posted agenda, except to briefly provide information, ask for clarification, provide direction to staff, or schedule a matter for a future meeting. So that just describes the public comment period. But let's start with the consent calendar, and we have approval of minutes. So if commissioners have any comments or questions.
I move to approve the minutes. Chair.
Okay, we have a motion to approve. Do we have a second? Oh,
I have to abstain.
yeah, I think Commissioner Mohajer, you were not here. I will second the motion. So all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Minutes are approved. So public hearing, I wanted to make sure that we covered any public comments for items not on the agenda. So are there any public comments that want to be made for items that are not on the agenda today, for today's items? I don't see any. So with that, we'll close the public comment period for non-agendized items and move over to the public hearing. So for today, we just have one item, and that is the Stoll Road Package Delivery Warehouse Plan Development Permit at 1680 West Stoll Road. Can we hear from staff?
Thank you, Chair, members of the Commission. My name is Frank Albro. I'm Principal Planner here at the City. And this project is a proposal for a 245,000 square foot distribution facility at 1680 West Stoll Road. Seafree Development Management, Inc. submitted this plan development permit application to the City on June 1st, 2024. The project has since been analyzed by City staff, all the departments and divisions, for conformance with general plan, specific plan, and zoning standards. With the assistance of Rincon Consultants, an environmental impact report has also been produced for the project. Prior to this hearing, there had been 3 previous study sessions, with the latest one of those being on January 22nd, this past January. During these meetings at the study sessions, the Planning Commission received presentations from city staff, heard from the applicant, inquired about the project's operations and the design of the project, and the traffic impacts and environmental analysis of the project. And we also received comments from the public, and those primarily concerned potential traffic and traffic impacts generated by the project. So the site is, as I mentioned, located on West Stoll Road. It consists of 2 vacant parcels which have been under the interim use of row crop production since the adoption of the specific plan in 1994. The 2 parcels will be merged as part of this application and will have approximately 1/4 mile long frontage along Stoll. Around the site, we have agricultural land to the north of Stoll, which is within the unincorporated Santa Barbara County area. A little bit to the west on the north side is the Humane Society campus, Santa Barbara Humane. Further west, on the south side of Stoll, we have the various existing agricultural coolers, including Driscoll's 155,000 square foot cooler, Bonnie Pack's 170,000 square foot cooler facility, and Cal Giant's 87,000 square foot facility. Immediately east of the project site is the development site, which is currently under construction for Maxco Packaging. This is a box assembly and outdoor storage facility with a square foot building of approximately 62,000 square feet. And the nearest single-family residence to the project site lies approximately 1,400 feet to the southeast, and that is this development here, which is at the intersection of the La Brea, just east of A Street. So again, that's 1,400 feet from the closest point to that residential unit there at the corner. So the 32-acre project site is located within the heavy commercial manufacturing general plan land use designation. As the commission may know, and the public may know, last night the city council did adopt the new general plan. This land use designation is remaining consistent. It is the same as it was with the general plan that we had before last night's meeting. The red dashed line represents the boundaries of the West Stoll specific plan. This is a 165-acre area, which in its entirety is zoned planned development, commercial manufacturing, or CM zone, with an agricultural overlay. The Santa Maria Valley Railroad corridor is the southern boundary of the specific plan and is also the southern boundary of the project site. The area was designated heavy commercial manufacturing, or that land use designation was established in 1992 to support the annexation of this area, which happened later, and then the specific plan happened later in 1994. This area had been designated as prime farmland by the state. However, that 1992 action on the annexation and the 94 action on the specific plan acknowledged that loss of prime ag land for this industrial development. And the 1992 environmental impact report for the annexation also acknowledged that industrial development would take place here, and a statement of overriding considerations for the loss of that prime farmland was adopted at that time when that 1992 EIR was certified. Therefore, since that early 90s timeframe, the city has recognized this area as an industrial development area. So back to the land use designation of heavy commercial manufacturing, This is the statement in our now new general plan as of last night, which is almost word for word the same as our prior. The intent of that designation is to permit activities that combine manufacturing and retail on the same site, along with other heavy commercial uses that are land intensive, involve transport of materials by heavy truck, require large loading and docking areas, and may generate significant noise. And it gives some examples of uses that one would expect, including lumber yards, boat works, warehouses, wholesale building supply dealers, mobile home sales, farm equipment sales, and equipment repair. So as I also mentioned, this area is in the West Stowell specific plan, and the goal number one of the West Stowell specific plan was to achieve a unique, identifiable agricultural and industrial area that provides functional unity with the area's agricultural culture. In following that, the West Stowell specific plan includes many uses that are very similar to this use, including listed as permitted uses, agricultural packing and processing plants, produce distribution warehouses, wholesale supply, storage, and distribution center. And then as possible conditional uses, that specific plan zone lists large truck and tractor sales and service facilities. So although that this project before us tonight does not involve specific agricultural products or supplies, the proposed use is similar in scope and scale to other uses that are listed as permitted or conditionally permitted in this specific plan. Additionally, the project does not pose any use or activity such as residential development that would constrain or conflict with the agricultural uses adjacent. Therefore, this project has been determined to be consistent with the updated Santa Maria General Plan. This use will include delivery and distribution, office and processing uses, shipping and receiving, facilities for the on-site maintenance of fleet vehicles, and other ancillary uses and functions, which are also typically found on agriculturally industrial-oriented processing and distribution sites. Likewise, the noise, odor, lighting, traffic, and other aspects of this project will be similar to those listed uses in the specific plan. And lastly, speaking of those types of things, such as noise and lighting, this project has been thoroughly evaluated and analyzed for any potential environmental impacts with input from other agencies and the public. And the EIR that I'll discuss later includes mitigations which reduce the vast majority of those potential impacts to being less than significant. Therefore, again, this use is compatible and does not threaten the viability of the adjacent agricultural industries. And I mention all this because as with the zoning ordinance, even though a use might not be specifically listed, the Planning Commission can consider the use through a plan development permit with special findings that the use is compatible with the other uses in that zone. And those findings are included in the PD permit. And again, the overall summary of all this is that this use will not adversely impact the operation or the viability of the neighboring agricultural industrial facilities. So now we'll get into the project details of the design, the site design, elevations, et cetera. As I mentioned earlier, the overall floor area is proposed at 245,000 square feet. The main warehouse will be 169,000 square feet. which is the yellow area highlighted there. On either side of the warehouse, on the west and east sides, I jumped ahead. On the south side of the warehouse will be the large semi-truck, line delivery truck loading areas. And this is where products will be loaded into the warehouse that have been shipped to the warehouse. Back to the sides of the building, in light blue are two metal canopies under which the van distribution delivery vehicles will be loaded from this warehouse site. The other accessory structures include two restrooms, an automated vehicle inspection building, and a fleet service center, which is located in this southern area of the site. The fleet service center will only work on the fleet vehicles of this facility, but they provide this facility so that those fleet vehicles won't have to travel off-site for everyday repairs and any other more significant repairs that need to be done to those vehicles. So having this facility on the site as one of the ancillary uses will help reduce traffic congestion out on the roadways by allowing all that maintenance to take place on this site. So here we have the conceptual landscape plan that provides the setting for the building. The project, being in an industrial zone, is required to provide 15% of the overall site as landscape, and this project exceeds that amount by providing more in the range of 20%. As you can see, a significant portion of that landscaping is provided along the northern side of the site between the building and the street frontage along Stoll Road. You also have significant areas of landscaping towards the rear of the site, helping to screen those loading bays and so forth, although south of the site is the rail corridor and future industrial development in Area 9. I will mention that there's a significant number of trees. There are 33 trees placed along the Stoll Road frontage and an additional 200 trees that are located throughout the site. So this will be a well-landscaped, well-shaded site. These are the building elevations, and the building will be constructed as a tilt-up style concrete structure with metal canopies and also an aluminum framed window system at the frontage where the professional offices will be located. And that's on the north elevation you see at the top there, which is the elevation that faces Stoll Road. On the south elevation is the large truck unloading bays that I mentioned earlier. So this building is proposed to be 42 feet tall, approximately, with the front office portion being approximately 26 feet in height. The maximum height in the specific plan is 35 feet. But in the specific plan, it does note that additional height may be approved by the Planning Commission through the plan development permit process. And so the applicant is asking for that additional allowance to reach 42 feet with the main warehouse building as part of the PD permit application. Part of the height of this larger warehouse facility obviously is to accommodate the internal workings and storage capacity and such of the facility. But there's also over 6 feet of screening parapet as part of this height. And that screening parapet is necessary to screen the larger mechanical units that will be placed on the roof of this building. One other thing to note is that this building is located over 210 feet away from the Stoll Road frontage. The setback in the specific plan would have allowed a 35-foot tall building within 20 feet of the Stoll Road frontage. So the additional height will be barely perceptible, if at all, from that distance. So here you see the sides of the building, both the east and west elevation. Excuse me. The blue portion of the structure, that is the metal canopy that is over the loading areas. And these doors are where products will be coming out of the warehouse and loaded into the vans that will be staged underneath these loading canopies. As you can see, there are 6 bays on either side of the building. So here's some elevations of the detached structures. These are significantly smaller than the main structure and also lower in height. The tallest one is the Fleet Service Building, and at the peak, it's 30 feet. And the vehicle inspection rises to the level of 20 feet tall, with the restrooms being 14 feet tall. These are also set back well even behind the front of the main building, so nearly imperceptible from the street view. Here we have the floor plan, you can see the office area towards Stoll. North is to the right. You have the 2 canopies in light blue, and then the yellow is the bulk of the warehouse area. This orange area represents where the incoming products will be offloaded. And then you can see the doorways in between these areas for loading the vans. At this point, I will go into some of the operation of the facility, since we're looking at where most of that operation will take place. The facility will receive packages that are transported by the line haul tractor trailer trucks. There's expected to be 34 of these trucks delivering packages to the location each day between 10 p.m. and 8 a.m. The packages are offloaded and then sorted within the warehouse. And then once they're sorted by delivery location, they're loaded onto the vans, which will again be staged under the canopies. The bulk of this happens between the hours of 10 a.m. and 11. And then again, there's a late shift, which happens around the 9 o'clock hour. I'll get more into the hours of the operation and the hours the vehicles will be departing in a moment. There's expected to be a flow of vans, 72 vans every 20 minutes, up to 345 vans total leaving the facility. These generally complete their route within 8 to 10 hours of leaving, and their return times are scattered depending on how many products they're delivering and where their delivery locations are. The facility will also take advantage of an alternative method of delivery using private carriers, and there'll be approximately up to 100 of these private carriers, and their time for leaving the site will be approximately between 4:30 and 6 p.m. each day, leaving the facility. And those drivers will arrive to the facility, pick up the products they're expected to deliver, but they will not return to the site at the end of the day. They just return home. And I will note that the numbers, both in the traffic analysis in the staff report and that I'm presenting here, are estimates for the peak operation of this facility. So they do represent the maximum that is expected from this facility. As I mentioned, there's been traffic analysis done on this project. That analysis has been reviewed by our city staff and has been found to be adequate and sufficient and adequately describe the project. This table shows the difference between the peak hours that the community experiences, which is shown in yellow, and the peak hours when delivery vans will be, delivery vans and the automobiles will be leaving the site, which is shown in the green timeframes. And so as you can see, those do not correspond. If they corresponded, we would expect to see traffic impacts that might be significant in terms of congestion on Stoll, but they do not. So this project has been mindful of those peak hours, and the efficient delivery of products does best when it can avoid high traffic times. So that's a point we would like to make, that it was brought out in the traffic analysis. One of the comments, or many of the comments at study session, had to do with school safety, schools along Stoll, and potential conflicts between the facilities deliveries and those school hours when kids may be arriving or departing school. This is another table that shows the project's primary times for the highest generation of traffic, which is shown on the top with the blue. And then these are the times when the various grades of school might be arriving, lunch hour, and then end of the day. And as you can see, again, the project's traffic peaks do not occur at the same time frame as the peaks of the local schools. And lastly, here's a traffic comparison, comparing the traffic that has been observed on West Stoll, just west of Blosser at that intersection, and the project traffic. The tan shows the existing traffic based on counts for that location. This location was chosen because it was a location where both the project will be using this area or passing through, and this is also a location where, in our estimate, the majority of the traffic for the existing agricultural uses on West Stoll also travel through. So as you can see here again, the peak hours for that local traffic do not correspond with the peak hours, at least the two main peak hours for this proposed facility. We also looked at the generation of traffic during the harvest season. This traffic count was not taken during the harvest season. And again, the conclusion of that analysis was that the peak hour times for the project traffic did not correspond to the peak hours that could be expected during the harvest season. The majority of the harvest traffic happens very early in the morning, and then in more mid-afternoon times when the project traffic is very low. There is one instance where there could be harvest traffic around the noon hour, but that peaks between 11 and 12. So as the peak of the project traffic is declining, that peak of harvest time would be increasing. So they do not directly correspond. Oh, and there we see the harvest times there. So that looks at the area near the project and also the areas near the schools along Stoll. The traffic analysis also looked at various intersections between the facility and the highway, thinking that Stoll Road would be the primary road used by the majority of traffic generated by this facility. This facility is doing a number of improvements, well, I'll mention later, street improvements included, but one additional improvement that they are offering as to help with the traffic impacts or traffic generation of this project is to help time the signals along Stoll Road to make that road operate more efficiently. So what this table shows is the 4 studied intersections, and then it shows the existing traffic. It shows the potential traffic if this project were not to go forward, but accounting for all the other projects that the city has in the hopper, either approved or under construction. And that is the orange bars that are shown on each intersection table. The green bar is that future forecasted traffic plus the project. And as you can see in many instances, that would actually make traffic worse. Stoll and Broadway, for instance, it would exceed the current traffic, it would exceed the current plus projected project traffic when you add this project also. However, the turquoise bar indicates the traffic after the signals are coordinated and timed. And as you can see, that significantly helps at Stoll and Broadway. It's also a significant help at Stoll and Bradley Road. And it certainly doesn't increase traffic at the other 2 intersections. So by employing that signal timing, this project will actually improve the projected conditions for these intersections through that timing. The other thing to consider is that this project is also paying traffic mitigation fees, doing the signal improvement. And so this project is more than compensating for the traffic that it is generating. As I mentioned, there's been an environmental impact report produced for this project that environmental analysis looked at the conceptual plans that were provided. We had traffic analysis, we had level of service, we had vehicle miles traveled analysis, hydrology, et cetera. That environmental report, which our consultant, Rincon Consultants, produced for us on behalf of the city, was completed and circulated for public review between November 12th and January 16th of this year. We did extend the January 16th date, represents an extension of, I believe, 2 weeks on the request of some of those that had been commenting on the project. We did receive comments from 11 individuals, 4 public agencies, and 8 interest groups. The EIR found that the project would have potentially significant environmental impacts in the areas of air quality, biology, cultural resources, geology and soils, hazardous materials. However, the EIR also incorporates mitigations which reduce all of those impacts to less than significant levels. The EIR also identified a significant impact regarding vehicle miles traveled. Vehicle miles traveled is not a representation of congestion, but how many miles of travel are generated by the project. The difficult thing with a project that purpose is to deliver products is that inherently they will have a higher vehicle miles traveled count than a retail store or an industrial production facility because their business is travel and delivering product. The EIR did include mitigation measures to help reduce the impacts of VMT. Those included the developer required to implement a travel demand management plan, and also fleet operational measures to reduce miles traveled. Things such as employer commuting programs, subsidies for employees for transit, providing bike infrastructure, and other things like the electrification of their delivery fleet help reduce the vehicle mile travel impact. All of those are part of this project. However, even with those mitigations, the project still will have a significant impact, again, primarily because their business is deliveries and it is traveling miles. When an instance like this happens where there's what's called a Class 1 impact when the EIR is completed, there is a procedure where the agency, the Planning Commission, can make a determination that even though the impact is significant and unavoidable, the commission can make what's called a statement of overriding considerations, where the benefits of the project will outweigh the potential impacts of those vehicle miles traveled. Staff has prepared that statement of overriding considerations, and it is included as a component of the environmental resolution, which will be part of what the commission will be considering at the end of the meeting. So the statement of overriding considerations, I do want to just hit the high points of the what we recognize as the benefits of this project through this statement. These statements are tied to the general plan and the general plan policies. And I'll just go over these quickly. The project will maintain and improve the character of Santa Maria as an industrial and commercial center for the county and also SLO County. It'll contribute to economic activity by placing a productive use on a currently vacant site. It'll provide for short-term construction jobs, and it'll also provide long-term opportunities for local residents. I will say that providing the job opportunities for local residents is also important because currently the city has a jobs housing imbalance where we provide the housing for other neighboring communities that have the jobs. And providing more jobs within the city will help reverse that trend by allowing local residents to stay within the city and not have to commute. The other items are that the project, like I mentioned earlier, is providing more than their share towards public facilities infrastructure. They've worked with the city on the realignment of an existing sewer line that crosses through their site. They're also looking or going to be doing the signal timing, and in addition, they will be doing road improvements along the West Stoll corridor to strengthen the intersections. So all of those things are project components that the project is going to be contributing towards. And lastly, the project employs a number of sustainable features, including a solar collection facility on the roof. They have EV chargers for the passenger vehicles in excess of that which is required by building code. They are providing 200 delivery van charging stations, so their fleet will be electrified. And they do include battery energy storage on their site. This is not triggering our recent ordinance on battery energy storage because the energy will be collected and reused only at this facility. I will just mention, I mentioned earlier, there is a resolution for the environmental impact report. That includes the CEQA findings, the statement of overriding considerations, as I mentioned, the EIR mitigations in the form of a mitigation monitoring and reporting program, and all of those are attachments to the environmental impact report resolution, which I'll be mentioning or discussing in a moment. So in addition to those benefits, there's the economic impact estimates that we have looked at for this facility. Some of these do cross over in terms of the $4.2 million of structural improvements to Stoll Road. You can see those other improvements would equate to $10.25 million in local fees and infrastructure improvements. I've noted the construction jobs, which is estimated at being 300 plus individuals and resulting in 40 million construction costs, improvements for the building, the site, materials, and so forth. So overall, this project being developed represents 73.4 million in projected economic output and 3.7 million in estimated state and local taxes, which would be generated by the operation of this facility. And in addition to these facts, I do want to mention the permanent employees is estimated to be 300 permanent employees with an additional 500 contracted employees. Their average compensation, including their benefits, would be approximately $29 per hour. And the facility will offer their employees skill training, trade and upskill training, college degree programs, and other such employee benefits. So we do have one correction in all the materials that we provided to the commission, and that is in the previously mentioned mitigation monitoring and reporting program document. There was an error in terminology, which can be seen here. It's mitigation TR3, and this is one of the VMT-related mitigations. The applicant or the developer would be able to choose one of these one of these four potential mitigation measures to employ. And the action required column mistakenly indicated they needed to choose at least four, but there's only four measures. So that doesn't make any sense. Clearly, it was intended to say choose one of the four measures. And so you can see the corrected text there below. So we would just ask that the commission, if making your motion, read that correction into the record. This concludes staff's presentation, but I would like to mention that there are a number of letters that we've received in the last day or two, letters, emails, other communications. We have forwarded the majority of those to the commission. Cody has one additional letter. Bring that up. We also have comment slips, which Kathleen is bringing up. And there's a third item included in that. Two of the comment letters specifically addressed the EIR that was produced and our response to comments. And through CEQA requirements, we do need to address those letters more specifically. One of the letters was received on behalf of the Grower Shipper Association, and the other from Golden State Environmental Justice Alliance. Both of these groups have already commented on the initial EIR, and in fact, more than one comment was received from these groups. And in our responses to their prior comments, those have all been incorporated into the final environmental document. And these new letters that we've received in the last couple of days primarily reiterate the same claims and assertions that were made in those prior letters, and which have already been addressed in the final EIR by our responses to their comments. The other attachment that you were just handed is a memo from our consultant, Rincon Consultants, who did the environmental work, that these new letters do not present any new significant information. They don't call out any new significant impacts. They don't identify any new suggested mitigations or different mitigations, and they don't indicate any alternatives for the project. Therefore, with no new information being provided, there's no need to do any recirculation or hold off on the certification of the EIR. And I do want to just specifically address the grower shipper letter. There was an assertion that the EIR did not analyze mid-morning traffic generated by the project. But as the commission will have seen in the slides that I presented, the EIR did identify that there would be mid-morning traffic generated by the project, and all of the traffic generated by the project has been analyzed in the traffic analysis and the VMT analysis. The grower shipper letter also states that the project has inconsistencies with the general plan heavy commercial manufacturing land use designation. And as I noted earlier in the presentation, the heavy land use that general plan designation identifies as being potential for this land use area. And those discussions have also been placed in the EIR and are part of our responses to comments. Lastly, the Golden State Environmental Justice Alliance letter asserts that the plans for the facility were not provided with the EIR. That is inaccurate. The full set of plans are included in the environmental document with the initial study and provided as attachment A of the EIR. The environmental justice letter also states that the project underreports the projected energy use of the facility. And again, that's not an accurate statement. The analysis used CaliMod for the estimates of energy use by this facility. That is an industry standard at the CEQA stage. Additional analysis will be necessary for energy use and Title 24 conformance when this project gets to the building permit stage if the project is approved by the commission. So that concludes my presentation on the letters that we've received and those two that specifically were on the topic of the CEQA. As of last count, we had 16 total letters submitted to us in the last couple of days. 5 of those are supporting the project. Yeah, one of those letters was just submitted this evening and it has been handed forward. There is only one copy of that letter, so if the chair would please share with the other commission members. So, in conclusion, thank you for your patience. That was the longest presentation I believe I've ever done, but necessary. The recommendation from planning staff is that by resolution, the Planning Commission certify the environmental impact report prepared for the project. And as I mentioned, that resolution includes the findings, Environmental Quality Act findings, the adoption of the mitigation monitoring and reporting program, and the adoption of the statement of overriding considerations for the project. And then by motion, approve the plan development permit PD 2024-0003 as conditioned, with the correction noted to the mitigation monitoring plan, traffic mitigation. And that concludes staff's presentation. We're available for questions. I also want to note that our CEQA consultant from Rincon is in the audience, and as well, the proponent for the project, the applicant, is in the audience as well, and ready to address any of the commission's questions.
Thank you, Frank.
Thank you.
Let's go back to the commission. Any ex parte communication that we should disclose?
I have none.
I have none.
I did have a meeting with the applicant and city staff, I don't know, a couple of months ago to talk about traffic impacts and economic impacts, so that did happen. Let's,
I had meetings back then.
Back then, okay.
Nothing since.
okay, very good. I think we disclosed those
I
at
did.
study sessions too, so I just wanted to.
Thank you.
So with that, why don't we hear if the applicant wants to make any comments or has a presentation they'd like to make, and then we can ask questions of the group. So step to the podium and just state your name and address for the record, please.
Yeah, good evening, Chair Blanco, members of the commission. My name is Eric Justison with RRM Design Group. We are here working with the applicant team. Our firm provided civil engineering, planning and entitlement services, surveying and landscape architecture services. And we're here tonight with the applicant, Seafried Industrial Properties. Scott Irwin and Ben Ochoa are here representing there. Scott would like to make a few comments after me. And our consulting team is here as well, specifically John Karnowski, our traffic engineer, should you have any comments to him. I'd first like to just thank you all very much for the fairly significant amount of time you all as a planning commission committed over the last 6 months and 3 different study sessions to really thoroughly consider this. Your input, your questions, your direction were super valuable in helping to shape this project and make it a really great addition to Santa Maria's future. I'd also like to thank staff who also did a ton of work on this project with their guidance, ensuring that the project meets all applicable standards, regulation, mitigation measures, conditions, and so forth. Really all that results in valuable and timely improvements that the project will make to the surrounding public infrastructure, much of which is needed investment for a while, and the project is able to take that significant load on. We all listen very closely to your comments and questions and deliberation and those of the community in these study sessions. We take those to heart, and we worked hard to ensure that we provided responsive additions and changes to the plans, which Frank has enumerated, including additional study and contribution to signal timing, not just down Stoll Road, but along Blosser Corridor, because we know that that's also a congested corridor. A study and potentially installing a new pedestrian activated signal at the Stoll-Thornburg Road intersection, where we have a lot of school crossing there. So that's an additional thing that came out of our hearings. Ongoing monitoring of all the traffic, including long haul delivery vans and delivery vehicles, to ensure that down the road that the traffic from this project actually sort of conforms to what we analyzed, and should there be necessary additional mitigations, we could engage with the city. So to monitor that traffic was something that came up. And then finally, just in terms of, dispersion of traffic for delivery, providing all our drivers with navigational applications that help minimize driving on congested roads and through neighborhoods, so that it's using, smart data like you would have in a Google Maps app or something like that. Again, something that came out of the hearing. I just make a note, sort of overall, that the project is just inherently unique in terms of its operations. It is a package delivery business, and minimizing delays and expedited shipping is at the very core of their goals. They wish to avoid traffic congestion just as much as anybody else, and therefore deliberately schedule their service vehicles at off-peak times by using proprietary navigational software and applications for their drivers. And just to reiterate, this is not an insignificant economic impact to the city of Santa Maria. You heard it enumerated in Frank's slides, so I don't want to reiterate it, but I think of note is a significant job addition of relatively, it's not minimum wage jobs, they're fairly high. Many of those are benefited. And in particular for the jobs that are provided by the operator, there is a really great employer offered upskilling to its employees for them to be able to get free college tuition and other technical training and education to help launch them in their careers. So for all those reasons that were enumerated by Frank and by me here at the podium, and you'll hear from Scott, we're really proud of this project and feel like this has been a great process to help shape and build a better project through the changes and the dialogue that we've had to date. I'd like to say and we support the staff recommendation and ask you to approve this project, certify the EIR and conditions, et cetera. And also that we are here if, at the end of this you need have us answer any questions or clarifications, we'd be happy to do that. Our team is ready to do that, and like to reserve some opportunity to respond if necessary to comments that come out in the public testimony. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good evening. Commissioner Yasmin, I don't think anyone kind of stopped to congratulate you on your child you had. So I hope all's well, you're getting sleep. So I thought maybe we should stop the meeting to congratulate you on that. So I think this is your first one back, right?
It is, yeah.
Okay, well,
Thank
welcome
you
back.
For that. I
So
appreciate it.
I had prepared remarks, which I think Eric had the same prepared remarks. So I will not repeat it. I know Frank gave a very thorough presentation. My name is Scott Irwin. We've met several times now. We've been with the 3 study sessions. And thank you again, both commissioners, for your time to walk through the project. We're excited about it. I think 2 things that weren't maybe highlighted that we wanted to highlight as a follow-up to the last study session. There was, I forget their name, a gal and a gentleman that were from the Santa Maria High School that had concerns about crossing. We went and addressed that. We will be doing a signal, or is it a signal ward or a crossing warrant? But we're going to upgrade the crossing there. I know a lot of kids just will run across, so that's out of our control a little bit. But we plan on doing it's a beacon feature. We can discuss it, but we'll have to go through and so that is that's something that we'll be doing, and that's not a costly. That's a very costly intersection. So we're going to upgrade that, and in addition, we will. And working with the fire department, we will be given $120,000 for equipment upgrades as well. So those 2 weren't highlighted in the economic kind of slide that Frank did. Another thing that we just highlighting our client, we're very big on local. You can see in this process we hired RRM. Our utility consultant is based here, Gray Electric, and then we also have Rincon, right? So we focus on local. You'll hear from some people here that a lot of construction jobs will be local, and this is a local My client is a global firm, but this is local benefits and local hire. One just thing that I want to highlight, I got it over the weekend and it resonated. It was a letter in favor of a project from a Santa Maria High School teacher, and she was saying that 2,200 seniors graduate annually, and only 20% go on to finishing school. I think that implies college. And she was just kind of getting the fact that they're capable, they're motivated, and they need opportunity. And you know, we feel like we're going to meet opportunity, and whether they work there full time for their entire careers or it's a bridge, these are good jobs. And you're going to find, because I've done a handful of these, line will be out the door with people trying to come and work at this facility. So they enjoy it. It's a good it's a good thing for the community. So. Frank, congratulations on the retirement. Thank you for that long, detailed presentation. Cody and Shannon, thank you again, and appreciate everything that you guys have done. We've been working on this for 2.5 years, so we're really excited about tonight and to be in front of you. So thank you again for your time and being here tonight.
Thank you very much. Okay, let's bring it back to the commission for questions to staff and maybe even to the applicant. Commissioner Mahaj, go ahead.
I have a question for we'll start with staff. Is there a mechanism in place to ensure that any future changes in operations, such as expansion of delivery, windows or additional shifts, would require additional city review thereafter, say like a couple of years from now, should demand call for it from the applicant?
Thank you, Chair, Commissioner. We do have, I was going to mention after the applicant's presentations, we do have conditioned many of the things the applicant had mentioned, including the trip monitoring. And so condition number 3 requires that for the first 3 years of the project's operation, the facility's operation, the applicant provide the trips that are generated by the facility to the city for review. And that review is going to be against the information that has been provided to the city on their traffic timing and traffic rates of generation. So we do have that as a mitigation. That's for the first 3 years. If within the first 3 years, they're consistently following those rates that we analyzed, we're not going to ask for any further documentation. However, we do have the option of requesting it. If we do receive complaints, we could request that they provide a year's worth of trip information for our analysis. Other than that, we do have our condition number 1, which is a standard for all plan development permits, which essentially says the project that is being proposed in all the documentation is the project that will be delivered, and it will operate as described. So if there's a significant change to the facility's operation that potentially might cause new impacts or change the timing of those impacts, that would be a potential to reopen or reinvestigate the permit.
Okay, thank you for that clarification. And then I'm not sure if you want to answer this to the applicant, but the signal warrant analysis and that pedestrian hybrid beacon, would that be built prior to occupancy and build, or are we expecting that thereafter? On Stoll and Thornburg specifically?
Correct. So I did want, that is again, part of the conditions of approval. The signal warrant is condition number 39 and A5. And that signal warrant analysis is required, and the installation of whatever recommendation that warrant analysis comes to is required to be installed prior to the certificate of occupancy of the facility. So before the facility can start to operate, whatever improvement is warranted will need to be installed.
Okay, perfect.
Commissioner Sievert, any questions from you?
Thank you, Chair. Frank, do you know what local taxes we're going to be getting from that? You said state and local taxes. Is there a, because, which taxes we're talking about here? Because it's not a point of sale operation, so what taxes are we going to be receiving from this?
Thank you for your question, Commissioner. I did do the tax analysis here, and many of these taxes listed on this particular slide are related to the initial construction. With the permanent tax, it would be part of the property taxes. So this is not a point of sale, so it would not generate new sales tax other than the county pool that the city receives, but it would add to the property tax as this property would be developed.
So that's when we're saying local taxes, that's what we're referring to?
Yes.
Okay. And is this for the staff or?
Either one.
For staff? You'd stated that you were going to work on a crosswalk? Yeah. Which one is it? You're going to have to step up to the microphone. I missed it, I'm sorry.
Oh, the crosswalk will be on Stowell and Thornburg. For the high school, on the south part of the high school.
It's currently where the railroad tracks are,
No,
If I may.
No.
on the opposite
Chair
side of the
Blanco,
street?
Chair Blanco, Commissioner Seifert, if I may, so it's Mark.
Yes, please.
So this
Go
is
ahead,
Mark. I'm Mark Mueller, City Engineer, Public Works Department. The condition is for the applicant to perform a traffic signal warrant analysis at the intersection of Stoll and Thornburg. That's at the southwest corner of the Santa Maria High School football field, between them and the Fair Park. So ideally, we would like a traffic signal placed there if warrants are met. If warrants are not met, we're also conditioning a pedestrian hybrid beacon. So currently, there's a small little reflector beacon
Yes,
there.
and a little median in the center.
So a pedestrian hybrid beacon is a more enhanced version of that. It has a full mast arm that goes over the roadway to stop vehicles. So the current improvement that's there is essentially yield controlled. You're asking the vehicles to stop. A pedestrian hybrid beacon is enforceable by law as a regulation to stop. You must stop when it has red.
And what we're doing, going to do a traffic study to see if that's necessary?
So the warrant analysis will determine whether or not a signal or a pedestrian hybrid beacon will be installed. Ideally, we would like a signal, but we need to make sure it conforms to California MUTCD. We can't throw signals in willy-nilly.
And this goes into Commissioner Mahajir's question, is when that gets built, that would be before?
Before
project.
occupancy, so the warrant analysis needs to be performed prior to building permit issuance, kind of as a measure of good faith. Hey, you're actually moving forward with this work. When that's received by my office and approved, then they can proceed with building permit issuance, and then we'll figure out what actually needs to be constructed, and so that gives them time to actually design and install.
We did hear a lot of people come up and speak about the problem with the kids crossing there.
Absolutely.
So you feel that would be an adequate remedy for this?
Commissioner Seaver, yes, I do. I think it's a major improvement over the existing crossing facility there. I do, having been a student at Santa Maria High, I know that a lot of students and parents drop off on Thornburg, so making that left in to drop off and then coming back south on a Stoll. Currently, it's an uncontrolled intersection, so some people, it's a 5-lane road, so you're crossing 2 lanes heading west, there's a 2-way left turn lane, and then 2 lanes heading east. So if you're trying to head back towards the 101, sometimes it can be a little precarious during
And
peak
they're
hours.
traveling fairly quickly as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that was a big one. And then you're the traffic study guy. Can you come up to the podium for a moment and explain to us how this traffic gets better with the increase in traffic? Because that's what the charts are showing. So I
That's a
just-
fair question. I'm John
Yeah.
Karnowski with NV5.
Appreciate
The chart there is showing what happens after you optimize the traffic signals, optimize the traffic flow along there. It improves the conditions, the current conditions, plus the conditions when there is other background traffic, plus the conditions when there are the other background and the site traffic. So if you can optimize your traffic signals, you can get better throughput, you can decrease delay, and that's the whole point of getting a better level of service.
And how do you conduct these surveys? Is that the little things that I see laid across the road where it counts the cars? Or how do we get these surveys? How do you get your information?
Okay, well, first of all, we don't put the tubes across the road anymore. We used to do that.
I'm an analog guy, sorry.
We actually count all the movements. We use cameras to count the vehicles, going through a process of doing that. We then model it. We simulate the traffic to figure out what the best traffic flow conditions would be to try to get what we call a green band, which is the time that you can move down the road and how many vehicles you can move down the road in a progression. So all that's done using fairly sophisticated modeling and simulation programs. Yeah.
So you're fairly certain that this modeling is going to be effective and that that this chart is actually going to be reflective of our new traffic after these mitigation measures are installed?
I'm pretty confident, yes. As best as I can tell you today. That's what we got.
Yeah, it's because that was the traffic on Stoll was one of the biggest things that we heard about, and that's where we did have a lot of people that were upset about that and the cross traffic. So, in your opinion, then the cross traffic on Blosser, Miller, College, because of the way that they're having their timing, that this isn't going to affect our traffic that we already have, that it's just going to add traffic at different times. And that's what I'm hearing with the wave chart.
Right. There's several things from what you just said. First of all, the side street movements. What we're showing here is an overall delay for all approaches. So our intention, what our plan is to improve traffic on Stoll, but not to the detriment of all the side street movements. So we need to at least keep the delay reasonable for everybody. So that's the first thing. Second thing is, yes, the roadway, most roadways in most cities experience a heavy volume at one point in time in the morning, say, and then another one in the afternoon. This road, because of all of the agricultural uses that are on the west side, it actually experiences about 4 different types of peaking. Early morning, the normal morning peak, and then the mid-afternoon, and then again later. The schools add another piece to it. This project actually fits perfectly within it. So it's sort of using the road, I think Mark mentioned it at one meeting, using all of the capacity of the road throughout the whole day. I think that's the point of it.
So we're basically just modernizing and utilizing what we already have to be more efficient?
Yes, that's correct. There are some local at the site improvements such as turn lanes, that kind of thing. But throughout the rest of the roadway, it's optimizing the traffic signals and enhancing the pavement conditions.
And that's a good segue because I'd like to go into the enhancement of the pavement. Is that you, Mark? Thank you very much for your explanation. Appreciate it.
Yes, Commissioner Seifert, I can hopefully answer any of your questions on the roadway hardening.
What does it mean? What are we doing?
So we're conditioning them to remove the existing asphalt concrete roadway there and install.
Where, the whole of Stoll?
No, so it would be at the intersections. So the main areas where we see failures, especially with large vehicles, is going to be when they're stopping at an intersection. So at the number 2 lane, essentially from the lane line to the curb face or to the gutter lip.
Okay, stop.
Yep.
I don't get the 1 and 2. Which is 1, which is 2?
Sorry, you count like you're reading a book. 1 is closer to the center and 2 is on the outside.
Thank you.
Yep. So the outside lane, essentially we're going to have them remove and install concrete. It's specified in the condition of approval exactly the roadway section. Essentially we're copying Caltrans and what they did on Highway 46. So when large line haul vehicles, trucks, or even ag vehicles, as they come to a stop, they're not having that shoving and rutting that you see typically at signalized intersections. That's when the most force is applied to the roadway. So we're trying to be meaningful and purposeful with the improvements that we're requiring. So the $4 million figure, we could probably do like a 2-inch overlay over the entire section, but we'd still have that rutting and shoving issue. So we're saying, hey, it'd be most beneficial to the community, most bang for our buck on what is becoming a more commercial route through the city by having this concrete improvement.
And you're saying we're only going to do that in one lane?
Correct, on the outside lane for both approaches to each intersection on Stoll.
How do we tell the truck drivers to stay in that lane?
We can't tell them.
Because they're going to go wherever they want to go, right?
Correct.
So, but you feel that that's a significant improvement?
I do.
And what about the other lane? We're not going to worry about that till we have damage, and then we're going to go fix it or something?
That'll likely be the approach from the Public Works Department, so yes. We do have plans for roadway hardening over time on our arterials and collectors. This is kind of the first step.
This is because it's coming from the mitigation fees that they're paying.
So this is not a mitigation fee. This is a separate condition of approval. The nexus for it is because of the line vehicles that are used by this facility. Because of the number of trucks and the size of the trucks, we feel there's a proportionality and nexus that the damage to the roadway justifies this improvement.
So they're going above and beyond what we would normally charge them to make this happen?
Correct. So in previous developments, you've asked why are we having them slurry a road or do certain modifications to a roadway. This is above and beyond those typical requirements. This is directly addressing the damage they're doing to Stoll Road.
And you deal with streets every day. That's your main job with the city. And you
Yes,
feel
sir.
that this is going to be adequate to keep our streets under control with this added, with these added trips?
Yes, sir, I do.
And what do you feel about the light, the crossing? Is that going to be adequate to keep our kids safe?
At that intersection, correct, yes. And so the signal optimization, so there's multiple portions to this. There's the upfront optimization of the signals. They're also conditioned to perform, they have the option to perform or provide an in lieu payment to the city to perform communication upgrades to our signals. As part of our citywide traffic signal prioritization, transit prioritization, emergency vehicle preemption, and adaptive timing. So the work that John and the team at NV5 are doing now is not going to go to waste. It'll just be, we'll continue to modernize the city and make it a smart city. So they're contributing to that along this Stoll corridor.
So is that going to create more electrical lines for the switching? I don't believe we have anything like that in place to tie those lights together at this point.
No, so there are multiple technologies, whether it's radio, fiber.
Oh, there you go, digital again. Okay, gotcha. So it's something that we can do without adding conduits and digging up streets?
Correct.
It's something that can be done external?
Yes.
Okay. And one of the other things at the study session was the noise of the vehicles, which, I mean, we have a street, we have cars. Who are you pointing at?
I'm pointing at Frank because I don't need to deal with
You don't deal with noise? Okay.
I think Frank is the noise guy.
Frank, so we did have some questions on noise, and the gal from Sanchez was very adamant that her school is right there and that these cars, trucks, vans are all going to be going by the school. Now, we have, 34 something, I got it written down, deliveries, 34 semi-trucks coming in for deliveries in the morning each day.
Right.
And do we have that timed as well? I mean, the kids are going to be in school. There's not much we can do about that.
So, thank you, Chair and members of the commission. When we talk about noise from a planning standpoint, and also from the CEQA standpoint, we're looking at noise that is generated by a project that could impact other neighboring projects. What we're talking about in this instance is the noise generated by the traffic. Yes, that traffic is generated by this project, but that traffic is using roadways that have been established by the city in this case, roadways that have been designated as certain classification. Therefore, they've been designed to accommodate a certain level of traffic, and that traffic will generate noise, but that is a function of the street and its designation, not of the project.
We're talking about the sections, how thick the asphalt, how thick the base? What are we talking about?
Not the
Designation.
physical sections of the roadway, but the classification that's in our general plan circulation element. Every roadway within the city is classified, the largest being the major arterials. Mark, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe this is a minor.
Minor or secondary arterial.
So those streets are typically, well, not typically, they are designed to accommodate a certain level of traffic based on that classification. Arterials, like a circulation system in your body, carry the bulk of traffic. You then also have minor collectors that help bring local street traffic to those major arterials. All of those have different classifications and a different level of intensity as you get up to the highest, which is major arterial. Well, the highest would be highway, which is like 101.
So how does Stoll rank for what we're adding? With the traffic that we're talking about, is Stoll rated at that level?
As seen in the traffic analysis and on that graphic for the signal timing, the level of service of Stoll will be maintained at acceptable levels with this project and the improvements they're providing. So the amount of traffic, therefore the amount of noise that is going to be experienced along Stoll is already expected. And it is not a situation where we can require a single property to mitigate for noise along a city roadway. Now, the other thing that comes into play is the vehicles themselves. They're all going to be newer diesel-operated vehicles, meeting federal and state vehicle requirements.
California has some of the highest
including for noise
requirements.
and all of that. So there's really no solution that this project can offer or that the city can extract from this project regarding highway noise.
Moving on, we have something that wasn't addressed. We have night deliveries that was brought up at the last study session. I forget how many we were talking about. It was in the 30s. They were going to be coming in at night, and we were going to do some sort of a mitigation with that as far as talking to the drivers about, was it staggering? I don't remember, Chair.
Yeah, possibly staggering or maybe even redirecting some of those trucks to other routes if they were coming north or south. There was a discussion about that.
We did have a discussion, but I don't see anything that's, has anybody looked at that, or have we done anything to mitigate that?
Well, in discussions with engineering, part of that concept is establishing truck routes within the city. Currently, the city does not have established truck routes. And Mark can contribute to this more. My understanding is that state law has changed and will soon be required to establish truck routes throughout the city. So that would be part of the response to your question.
Yeah, so Commissioner Seaver, I guess if you could help my recollection of the request, would it be to divert trucks from Stoll to Betaravia or Santa Maria Way?
Chair, do you
or-
remember? We did come up with something. I don't remember
Well,
what it was.
I think we talked in sort of theory, not theory, but idea or concept about like we're channeling everything down Stoll Road. So is there a possibility to distribute that traffic a little bit better to, lighten the load on the streets and lighten the impacts of the traffic itself? So I think possibly Betaravia, possibly, Santa Maria Way. I have no idea,
So I
that
think-
was
I
a
think-
concept.
I think there were two concepts that were talked about. There was the direction of, the majority of all their traffic, their 2,000 daily trips on Stoll. And I think that
I'm
can-
actually referring to the
Yeah.
nighttime trips right now. They have deliveries, yes.
And so that was NV5 and the applicant team had talked about spreading the trips, the other trips, the nighttime trips. I'm not sure if there's I guess we're going to establish truck routes throughout the city, whether that's on Broadway, Main, Stoll, Betaravia. I guess the question is there, you're moving the noise from Stoll to, say, Betaravia. There are still houses up front on Betaravia, or is there, what's the end game intent that we could impose a condition on the applicant?
I believe we were talking, the people talking were living off of Stoll, and they were just concerned that they were getting the bulk of all the deliveries at night. And I thought possibly we had done something to mitigate that. Do you guys remember that particular comment? And have we done anything? We were going to talk to the truck drivers, but they were contract truck drivers. They weren't the owner's truck drivers. They had not as much control over those drivers, but we were going to try to do something to set it up so that they didn't all affect Stoll. That was the residents' comment.
Yes, sir. I recall what you were. There you go. I do recall the conversation that we had on it regarding the trucks at night. The trucks are going to take the routes that is the most expeditious route to the site, mostly from 101. They could come in from the south. There's plenty of roadways that would come up that way that's the same distance, could take the same amount of time.
I'm actually not sure if this is a question for you. I think it's more of a question for Scott. You represent the owner, correct? I mean, I know you did your research and your analysis and that, but the actual question was, are we doing anything for those 34 trips at night or however many it was to kind of split them up and not have them all run down Stoll? That's kind of the bulk of my question.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we've not made a condition on that, I guess. We've been focused on other things, so. No.
Well, you got a lot of moving parts, but
Yeah.
that was one of the,
Maybe, oh, yeah.
that was one of the questions that came up at study.
Yeah, and I'll let them, just so, we've had these detailed traffic analysis, and I'm not really running all these models, but what we're trying to do is alleviate all the intersections, and we've been working on trying to come up with this issue, which is, we've been talking about now.
Obviously,
So
yeah.
we're working on it, and so maybe I'll let our consultant.
You've definitely put a lot of work
Yeah,
into it.
exactly, yeah.
That's
Yeah.
very evident.
And Chair, members of the commission, the speaker is from Rincon, and that is the city's consultant.
This
Eric
speaker.
Bonberg, yes, with Rincon Consultants. I was the preparer of the EIR. I'm not the noise expert. I have experts within my staff, but noise is not a linear kind of an issue where when you're studying that, like we did what's called a community noise impact assessment or equivalency level, where you look at the level of the noise at night, during the day, evenings, and then you put a higher rating on the noise at night because it's more disturbing to people at night. So then you average that out to get this number that we use to evaluate it. And so one of the things, if you're looking at spreading out those truck trips, well, let me back up. If you double the traffic, you get about a 5 to 10 decibel increase, which is about a 5 decibel increase, which is not that loud of an increase in the noise levels. So adding 34 trips is not a big increase in noise from the road noise. The other thing is if you spread out the trips, then you're disturbing people at various times during the evening, whereas maybe coming in together, it's a one-time impact kind of thing. So it's a 50-50 kind of thing there. So I'm not sure if spreading out the trips is actually a benefit or not.
And obviously, vibration and shaking, that doesn't come into the equation?
Right. Well, and in our analysis, we showed that there wasn't, based on the congestion or the construction and operation at the site, there isn't a significant impact level. It's actually doesn't increase beyond the ambient level of the noise that's existing as of today. So there really isn't an increase in the noise levels that are occurring today.
In the evening?
Yeah, at the project site.
I'm talking about like basically on Stoll or Miller
Yeah, and then as far as
College. And
Stoll, yeah, there's just that amount of increase in traffic just doesn't equate to a significant impact or that much of a change in the noise levels.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. Yeah, so that's all factored in when we do our analysis, is looking at, you know, how many trips are at night, how many trips are during the day, and then we weight those trips at night because they are more of an impact to people living.
So you've taken these trips into account?
Yes.
Because I think we just heard about them on the last study session, about the evening trips. Thank you very much. I think I have only one more question, and I believe that would be to you again, Scott. One of the last comments that we had on the last study session was a little disturbing because with everything that's going on in today's society with AI and robotics, we're talking about a good amount of well-paying jobs. What's to keep that from turning into robots and getting rid of those jobs and turning this into an automated facility? And then the benefit that Santa Maria is getting through the employment is all of a sudden dried up. What do you got to say about that one?
That's a great question. It's kind of a slippery slope because you could apply it to teachers, the Starbucks workers. I mean, the laundry list could be go on forever.
It wasn't my question.
Okay,
It was part of the community that came out and they asked a very valid question towards the end of the study session.
Fair.
Yeah.
All the facilities I've done, they hire. There's no push to go do that. I think from what I know, there's no intention, and from a delivery standpoint, they still need those people touching it and doing all that. But it's a scary kind of broader question because it could apply to a whole laundry list of where this world's going.
Absolutely.
And if we're all doing robots, then maybe everyone in this room is out of a job. So that would be the comment there. But I know for certain that they have this employment. They've said it. They're going to do it. They've done it at every facility I've built. They've done it at every facility that my competitors built, that they've built for themselves, and they're full of jobs. So they will stick with that and hire those people.
Thank you very much.
You have my word on that.
Appreciate it. Chair, that's it for me. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Mahajan, I know you have a few more questions.
Yeah, thank you so much. I do want to piggyback off of Commissioner Seifert's question about the automation. Do you think you can make a good faith effort to maintain that job availability for X amount of years at the site specifically? Because
I'm sorry, what the question is again?
So
Sorry.
given the potential for automation, approaching us, do you think you can make a good faith effort to maintain those job availability? For X amount of years?
I really don't see the robotics coming into play or any of this. There is automation in the facility. They do a material handling equipment that is within the facilities. They're pretty cool to see with all the packages that go around, but they need the workers. If assuming it does get approved, I could work to get some agreement post that approval to secure those jobs. I mean, it does fluctuate based on demand, all that, right? If we go into a massive recession, jobs are going to go away inherently because people aren't buying stuff, but and unemployment in whether area, local, regional has gone down, so that does ebb and flow. But their projections, like I've said, are accurate, and you're seeing more demand for the products and that servicing of getting the products that way through the with the advancement of the phone and everything. So I would say that we can. I don't know how to materialize that, but our jobs that we're projecting are accurate, and I can tell you that they'll hit those numbers.
Okay, and then currently with UPS, FedEx, and USPS also making Amazon deliveries, what does that distribution look like now that the warehouse is going to be in the city? Is that no longer going to be routed to them at all, or is it just going to be
Thought it was-
directly coming from Amazon?
Yeah, I thought it was the other, well, yeah. What is it? Yeah. I don't know if I know that answer, actually. I don't know.
Okay.
You know?
I just didn't know if we should be, if there's a balance there, if it's just going to be strictly coming from the warehouse at this point.
Yeah. Only the Postal Service delivers here, right?
For Amazon?
Okay.
Okay, thank you for that. And then the college degree programs that were mentioned, is that specifically with Allen Hancock only? Are you moving
No,
out?
anywhere.
Okay, and then
Yeah.
that is,
It's like a career choice program, so you choose to go, they'll pay for that, and they do full reimbursement. And I spoke to the gentleman at the Allen Hancock College, and his one question was, do they pay for the books? And the answer is yes, so it's a good program.
do they need to work for Amazon for X amount of years before they're able to enter that, or?
I think, I want to say it's right away, but I'm sure there's, they want to make sure they're not just, people are kind of free riding that, but I think, it's a big thing and a big benefit for a lot of the younger staff that work there.
Okay. I think that's it for me. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Mahajer. Frank, I wanted to see if we could bring up the graphic on the traffic, that wave graphic. Yeah, that one, thank you. So just trying to understand this graphic correctly. So the tan is the baseline existing, say, and the blue is what the facility is going to contribute.
Correct.
At those times. But the actual volume at each of those locations is higher. If you look at the total volume, the blue doesn't represent the volume total for the project and existing. It's actually higher, right? So would you add the blue to the tan to get the total increase in volume at that time?
What this chart, thank you, Chair. What this chart is meant to represent is the peak times of traffic. The volumes, yes, you would, and the consultant might be able to assist too, but you would also add, if you're looking at the amount of traffic traveling through that intersection, it would be additive. So you would add the tan plus the blue together.
Yeah, that's what
Now,
I'm getting
is
at.
that a one-to-one change on the table? I can't answer that.
I guess I'm just thinking the peak on the blue here at 10 at the beginning of the harvest, you have a peak at the blue, but you have a dip in the tan.
Right.
But
So
you add those two
You might-
distances, you actually get you're actually up around 300 or so maybe, or whatever. But you add that and you get the total volume, including the project, really. It's additive with those two peaks or those two waves, I guess.
that's my understanding, but I know the applicant's representative is.
Excuse me, Chairman. That's actually two-way traffic volume, and in fact, at that location, the traffic is in different directions. So you have eastbound traffic and westbound traffic. So yes, it does add it up to being higher, but it's actually in different directions.
But looking at the intersection volume or whatever, wherever we're looking at, whatever segment we're looking at, the true net volume or total volume is the additive of both of those.
At the 10 to 11 timeframe, that would be the case where you actually have a greater volume. Yeah, but it is, again, that's two-way. So what we're taking into account is there's more traffic in one direction than the other direction.
Okay. Very good. Mark, the frontage improvements, I know that there was concern from the Growers Shippers Association about safety and operations in front of the facility. I know a lot of the analysis has been looked at from Blosser to the freeway and those impacts. But can you explain how we're mitigating the additional traffic and the potential hazards? It wasn't clear on the plans exactly what's being proposed as frontage improvements for traffic safety. Is there a left, I couldn't tell, there's a left turn pocket coming in
Yeah, so,
from the east and a right turn pocket from the west? I couldn't tell.
Yeah, so Chair Blanco, there's Stoll Road as currently constructed is a one lane in each direction with a yellow stripe in the center for no passing. The project is conditioned to widen the road similar to Maxco and the truck facility to the east of this. And there will be a two-way left turn lane installed at the center to allow left turning vehicles into this facility to get out of the way of through traffic and make it a less safe left turn. It could also be used as a two-stage left turn out of the facility if necessary. There's no raised median facility requirements imposed on this project. There's no deceleration lanes for eastbound traffic. So it's just widening. They'll install curb gutter sidewalk, a bike lane. So they'll do their full frontage improvements as required for Stoll Road, similar to Maxco and the truck facility.
Now, you mentioned bike lanes, so there will be bike lanes with this project on Stoll?
There'll be a bike lane on the south side. I don't believe that we conditioned one on the north side of Stoll.
Okay. There is no sidewalks? I don't see any sidewalks on the frontage improvements, is that right?
There will be sidewalks constructed with this project along their project frontage. Maxco installed their frontage improvements, curb gutter sidewalk, so it'll be continuous at least along those two frontages. There's an undeveloped parcel between there and the truck facility, but the truck facility did construct their sidewalk, curb gutter sidewalk, frontage improvements. So as typical with development in this area, we're requiring the incremental installation of their frontage improvements.
Now, VMT is obviously a big issue here, unavoidable and significant, and there's different strategies, but what I don't see is we didn't really look at like a class 1 bike path on the south side to connect to either side. I mean, if you're riding the bike from town to this facility and you're supposed to be on the north side, I don't know that you want to cross, the westbound lane to get to the site. So was there any consideration, given all the VMT issues, for a class 1 facility on the south side to enable cyclists, pedestrians, and others to get to the site?
I'll have to defer to Frank and the environmental consultant on what was considered for VMT mitigation measures. Thinking broadly as to how that could be implemented. I know the San Maria Valley Railroad has long opposed any type of bike facilities adjacent to the railroad. So acquisition of land to install that would have to occur from other private property owners. So I think implementation would be pretty difficult unless the railroad were to be purchased.
Okay. Frank, do you have any input on that?
Thank you, Chair, members of the commission. Yes, TR2, mitigation TR2, which was one of the VMT mitigations, does have options for the applicant on improvements that could be made. Some of these are, as I mentioned, the carpool van pool facilities, transit subsidies to their employees and so forth. But one of them is improving the bike infrastructure, bike parking, showers and lockers. And then also one of the other items was improving the connection between this facility and Blosser Road, the bike lane and sidewalk facility. So those are optional. They're not required specifically to do that particular improvement, but that could be one of the ones they choose under this mitigation.
Okay. Yeah, I just think to myself, if we're trying to address the VMT problem, and you're trying to walk or even, walk or ride a bike from town, because everybody's going to be coming from the east if they're going to use alternative transportation, getting to the site's going to be pretty challenging, probably discouraging from doing that. So I don't know how you encourage those people to come in that mode. So that's the reason I asked that. Let's see. Just kind of looking at my list of questions if I missed any. We talked about the hours of delivery and operation. Is there any way for the city to enforce any of that? I mean, if operations change for them and suddenly it doesn't make sense to do deliveries at night or at whatever time we're talking about here that they're proposing, is there any way to enforce that and go, well, you're not sticking with your requirements? I know that they got 3 years of reporting, but the facility's going to be around much longer than 3 years. We don't have staff to enforce, I presume, with budget cuts, but what's the plan for any kind of enforcement?
And there again, Chair, members of the commission will rely on the permit conditions that the project they're applying for and the description of how they operate will continue to follow what they've proposed. There is that reporting to ensure that the traffic generated by the facility is consistent with this table, at least during the first 3 years. And upon request of the community development director, we could ask for that same reporting to happen in future years if we do receive complaints or have a sense just from observation that something significant has changed. We can ask for that information, and the applicant would be required through the conditions to provide us with that and to work with us if there are issues that are identified.
I know there was a lot of concern from people that attended study session about just general safety, and I know we talked about signal as a way to mitigate. Do we have any data or any way to be able to track accidents or safety issues in the future? I mean, like, how do we know that there's an increase in accidents if we don't have existing data?
Yeah, Chair Blanco, the city, we get data from the police department that's also collected and reported to SWITRS, the state reporting for collisions across the state. We have records going back to beyond 2010, so we can definitely track trends and whether that's vehicular on vehicle or vehicle on pedestrian or vehicle on bicyclist. That's all aggregated and can be separated and queried. So we should be able to, if you'd like a report on pre-post, we can do that. I don't have those in front of me, but I can definitely do that.
Okay, sounds good. I believe that's the questions I had at the moment. Why don't we have a lot of speakers, a very long list of speakers, so let's get to that. What I'd like to do is, since we have so many, we normally do 3 minutes limit. I think that's going to be way too long. I have a feeling that we're going to hear some repetitive stuff. So why don't we limit it to 2 minutes? And if you would please, if the prior speakers have really mentioned already your comments, feel free to come up and say that you have similar comments. If there's anything different, you can add it, but I don't think that we need to hear the same thing. If you have the same comments, I would appreciate you just kind of keeping it pretty brief. I can't even count how many we have. I think we maybe have like 20. So even at 2 minutes apiece, that's going to be 40 minutes. So, and I'm going to kind of randomly go through them. I may just alternate the designees for in favor or opposed. So why don't we start with the first one? If we can have Ricky Montoya. Yeah, that's a good idea. Why don't we get the next person, John Fowler, up to follow. Go ahead, sir.
Good evening. My name's Ricky Montoya. I've been a long-standing member, 24 years of the Western State Carpenters. I'm speaking on behalf of the development team for the proposed new Amazon warehouse project at 1680 West Stoll. We appreciate the opportunity to be here tonight and discuss a project that we believe will bring meaningful economic and community benefits to the city. This development represents a significant investment in our community. During construction, the project will create over 300 local union jobs. And once operational, the facility is expected to provide hundreds of permanent positions across logistics, operations, maintenance, and management. These jobs will include competitive wages, benefits, and opportunities for career advancement. In addition to employment opportunities, the project will generate substantial tax revenue that can support essential city services such as public safety, infrastructure improvements, parks, and schools. We also understand that this project of this scale raises important questions regarding traffic noise, environmental impact, and neighborhood compatibility. We take those concerns seriously. The development team has worked closely with the city staff, traffic engineers, environmental consultants, and community stakeholders to design a project that meets or exceeds all local and state requirements. I strongly approve this project for construction.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
John Fowler, followed by Jose Cardona.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is John Fowler, and I'm at East 204 Enos. I am the CEO for Economic Alliance. For those who don't know us, we're an economic development nonprofit that's been working in northern Santa Barbara County for the last 14 years. Our mission is pretty straightforward. We support our local industries so they can grow and expand. We firmly believe that when our local businesses thrive, our citizens and our communities thrive as well, right alongside. I've been here tonight to advocate for this project because we've seen the leasee work elsewhere in the Central Coast. They already have a strong footprint in Santa Barbara and San Luis Obispo. In fact, I can speak to them both on both sides of the dais, once as a planning commissioner. I served as a planning commissioner for the city of San Luis Obispo for 8 years, and I'm proud to say that I supported the leasee's efforts to do business there. I personally can attest to their reputation. They aren't just a name on a lease, they're active civic partners. Their employees sit on government advisory boards, chambers. They provide leadership and financial support to local nonprofits. They're known for being incredibly generous and with both their time and their dollars. I have every reason to believe they will bring that same good neighbor culture here. Now, we recognize that this facility is a warehouse. It's a different beast than their office spaces, and it generates a different kind of traffic pattern. However, they remain a good business of the region. I sent a formal letter for Cody, and we did note in there that the one thing that we did want to point out is that there does need to be an active left turn lane for traffic into the facilities. I want to just wrap up and say Econ Alliance wholeheartedly supports and encourages you to approve, certify the EIR tonight. They're looking forward to the jobs, the leadership, and the economic vitality this will provide for the city. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Followed by Nancy Crawford.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Jose Cardona. I'm a teacher at Santa Maria High School, and I'm here to ask a question of us, right? Does this warehouse make Santa Maria a net positive? Or is it simply turning our community into a pass-through for someone else's profits? I grew up in Southern California, surrounded by these kinds of warehouses, and I can tell you that the experience is not pleasant. You are trading quiet neighborhoods for constant ambient noise, cracked asphalt, congestion, pollution, and negative health outcomes. I want to address a brief concern that I raised in the environmental report about students walking on Stoll next to the semi-trucks. The response I received is that trucks are going to be using off-peak scheduling, but my question is, how will this be enforced? Also, Santa Maria High School has a staggered schedule, so half of the students enter an hour later and leave an hour earlier. This also doesn't account for students that play sports and stay after. So we're expecting these students to walk home next to these semi-trucks, which I think is very dangerous. In addition, the jobs that are mentioned, right? What kind of jobs is this facility really bringing? It was mentioned that a majority of the jobs are going to be independent contractors. These workers are often underpaid, overworked, and given unrealistic quotas. The result of this is dangerous driving, ignore traffic rules in our own neighborhoods. We're really importing exploitative labor practices into Santa Maria. Furthermore, this warehouse is hurting the local economy. Every package that comes out of the facility is taking dollars from small local businesses that support our local sports teams and make our community better. I really want us to think about this decision, and I hope the Planning Commission thinks about what is going to improve the quality of life for the people in Santa Maria. Thank you.
Nancy Crawford, followed by Abigail Cruz.
Thank you, Chair Blanco and Commissioners, for the opportunity to support this project. My name is Nancy Crawford, a local business owner and a native Santa Marian. I'd like to, I already submitted a letter of support to the Commission, so I won't address that. But I wanted to point out a couple things during the presentation that I thought were potential justifications for support. If you were to quantify the 800 jobs that they are potentially going to be offering, those residents have to go outside of the city to find those types of jobs. If you quantify those vehicle miles traveled, it might offset and maybe net zero the addition of the miles that they'll be adding to the city. In addition to, I serve on both the Santa Barbara County Transit and San Luis Transit Advisory Commissions for passenger transportation, and access to good paying jobs is a barrier for a lot of citizens within our city. So having 800 jobs within our city limits is a huge advantage and growth opportunity for our economy. And the transit, the big impact on transit is our students. And so being that these jobs will also be during the staggered hours, that would actually increase utilization of our current transit system. So again, I'm here to support this project. A couple things that were mentioned, I know they are adding significant investment in Stoll specifically. But I don't know if with the packet addressed the 101 access. Both the southbound and northbound access points for 101 are already congested. I don't know if their proposal addressed that, but that was one thing that I wonder if the commission could follow up on. Another suggestion would be, as Scott mentioned, I apologize. Scott mentioned that the other projects that they've done across the country have shown to support and their promise of 800 jobs. I would ask if the commission could request just proof that those other projects also maintained the jobs that they promised. Thank you.
Thank you. I had Abigail Cruz next, but okay. Abigail Cruz, go ahead. Abigail Cruz, followed by Miguel Velasquez.
Hi, good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is Abigail Cruz. I'm an attorney with a legal nonprofit that assists low-wage workers throughout California with employment matters. I was born and raised here in Santa Maria, and I currently live and work here as well. I came here to express strong opposition to the proposed Amazon Logistics Hub. While new development can sometimes offer progress, the specific costs associated with this project far outweigh the projected benefits to our community. I urge you to consider the following. While Amazon promises job creation, we must look at the quality of those jobs. These are typically not high-paying jobs that support local families, and we know that families are struggling to make ends meet here in the Central Coast. We also know that Amazon strongly opposes the unionization of these positions. Furthermore, extensive reporting has shown that the reliance on unrealistic productivity quotas often leads to unsafe working conditions and high injury rates and violations of workers' rights under California law. In my work with low-wage workers, I have seen firsthand how aggressive, unrealistic quotas compromise fundamental labor standards. Far too often, these quotas force workers to skip legally mandated rest breaks, forgo basic necessities like using the restroom, simply to keep their jobs. This high-pressure environment doesn't just lead to burnout, it leads to high injury rates and exploitive conditions where workers are effectively penalized for exercising their rights under California law. Our community deserves employers who prioritize the well-being of their staff over high-speed turnover and aggressive metrics. I won't go into detail too much, but there's also a strain on local infrastructure. Also from my work, I've seen that Amazon uses extensive third-party delivery service partners, and these independent contractors are also overworked and underpaid. Thank you.
Thank you. Miguel Velasquez, followed by Eduardo Angeles.
Good evening, Commissioner. My name is Miguel Velasquez. I'm a union carpenter. I live in Santa Maria. Normally, it would take me a couple hours to go to work, whether it's Southern California or Northern California, for a responsible contractor. This project will give me the chance, opportunity to work close to home and be near my family. So as a union carpenter, I approve this project. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Eduardo Angeles, followed by David Cross.
Good evening, Planning Committee. My name is Eduardo Angeles, and I am a high schooler at the local high school. I believe that the many problems of building an Amazon warehouse in Santa Maria need to be addressed. To start constructing an Amazon warehouse in our city would only make Santa Maria's walkability problem worse by introducing dangerous drivers into our city. Amazon delivery drivers are notoriously under high pressure, overworked, and in a rush because of Amazon prioritizing efficiency over everything else. All this isn't even mentioning the fact that Santa Maria simply doesn't have the infrastructure to support so many new vehicles without causing serious safety and traffic issues. Does Santa Maria really want to introduce such reckless drivers onto our streets? Stoll is also a road where hundreds of kids cross every day. It is our moral responsibility to keep our youth safe and keep these potential drivers out of harm's way. Finally, Santa Maria community already deals with many health problems from our polluted air like asthma, cancer, and other serious health conditions. The introduction of heavy machinery and vehicles from Amazon will only pollute our air more, making many, especially our youth, vulnerable to developing health issues. The same youth that Amazon are harming are also going to be the ones that Amazon will exploit. Amazon has a history of going to local school districts and adding Amazon classes to school curriculum. These Amazon classes are supposed to teach future Amazon workers how to go up the Amazon hierarchy, promising these children good jobs, but the majority of the time, the people who take these classes end up being the ones who work 10-hour shifts in the inhumane warehouses. How can we make sure that our youth and my classmates won't be groomed by these multi-billion-dollar companies? Thank you very much.
Thank you. David Cross, followed by Earl Fraunfelter.
Good evening, Commissioners. I'm Dave Cross. I live in the city at 2146 Paseo Cielo. I'm in support of the project because it's a terrific economic development benefit to Santa Maria. It will provide a significant number of jobs for the people. I also want to remind you that we have over 1,000 dwelling units in the pipeline for our growing city. ADUs, apartment complexes, residential units, and to support that, we need to have a high-level amount of jobs. So this is one of those economic development opportunities that doesn't come often, and it will provide a long-term benefit to our city. I also want to mention there was some talk about the benefit of taxes. Every one of the employees work there will pay taxes as well, and much of that will end up being sales tax into the city, so that's also a benefit. Thank you.
Thank you. We got Earl Fraunfelter, followed by Jose Pina. Is there Earl Fraunfelter? Hopefully I'm getting that right. Earl Fraunfelter, no? Okay. Let's go with our Amanda Corcoran, followed by Jose Pina. Or Amanda, excuse me.
Hi there. My name's Amanda Cosio Bagnuda Corcoran. This is my grandfather's property along with other family members who own it. I recently got to have a conversation with my grandfather, and while I'm in support of my family selling the land, they should be able to do what they want with their land. I'm adamantly opposed to Amazon coming into our community. Of my family who's selling the property, none of them live in the city limits. I do. I live on the north side of Santa Maria. I volunteer at the Natural History Museum. I'm part of my child's PTA. I support unions. Amazon doesn't. they are a big problem for our community. Everything everyone's saying is really spot on. I am really concerned about the slippery slope that this is going to lead to with our land. Amazon is building this warehouse, and right now they're also building a ton of data centers that drill into our land and use the water. We don't have water to give to Amazon. So when we talk about the slippery slopes, this is a huge slippery slope. When I was talking to my grandfather, he's 88, I think, at this point. He's on hospice. He grew up in Santa Maria. He was born here. Our family immigrated here from Switzerland. They didn't have any food in Switzerland. That's why they came here. They came here for better opportunity. And that's what they got. They did really well, obviously, and they're about to do really well by selling this land. But my grandfather is very concerned about the soul of the city. And Amazon doesn't have a soul. They don't pay taxes. They make their employees urinate in water bottles in their warehouses, and they refuse to unionize. I could go on, but I adamantly am opposed to Amazon coming into my community. Thank you.
Thank you. Jose Pena, followed by Peggy Brereton.
Hi, good evening. My name is Jose Pina, and I'm speaking on behalf of the Californians Allied for a Responsible Economy, or CARE California. We are here to voice our strong support of this project and asking for the Commission's yes votes on it tonight. Santa Maria deserves this project's far-reaching positive impacts. The benefits from this development will create positive economic growth through good-paying jobs that will assure brighter futures for residents. Because of this, we support the project and the many benefits it will bring to the city of Santa Maria. We urge you to vote yes. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's go with Sasha Stevens. Is there Sasha Stevens, and then maybe followed by Peggy Brereton? I didn't know if she was here.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Sasha Stevens. I'm the business manager for Plumbers and Pipe Fitters Local 114, representing Santa Barbara County. I'm here tonight in support of this project because projects like this create real opportunities for working people. For those of us in the trades, this project means jobs, health benefits, apprenticeship hours, and the ability to provide for our families. It also means local workers have the chance to build something in their own community. This project will also help train the next generation of skilled workers by giving apprentices valuable hands-on experience alongside experienced journeymen. And not just us, we want Santa Maria residents to have access to good-paying jobs and long-term career opportunities, and this project helps make that possible. I respectfully ask for your support. Thank you.
Thank you. Gail McNeely, followed by Kenny Nieves.
Good evening. Site. It's really all about site. It's the wrong site in Santa Maria. It should be on the other side of the 101 so that the cars, the trucks, and the vans could get right on the 101. Betaravia, Union Parkway, that's where it should be, but it's not. Mr. Bianco, I remember you saying at the last meeting, it's not a good site. I remember those words. And that's the problem here. I live where Stoll and Broadway come together. Stoll is the absolute wrong street for most of the traffic to go on. And you know all the reasons. When you get down to In-N-Out Burger and Trader Joe's and the gas station, and then you're going along parts that have no sidewalk, and they cannot build a sidewalk next to the cemetery. There's a wall there. They can't build a sidewalk on the other side of the street. There's a wall there. I don't know why they're saying this, because it's not possible. That is the most impacted street. Anyone who drives in town, and union workers, I'm a union worker too. I want you to work. I want you to build this warehouse on the other side of the 101. That's where I want you to build it. That's where it should be. So I'm for you, and I'm for our quality of life. The amount of traffic that this adds to our city will diminish our quality of life. Everybody knows that. Look at Broadway now. I was on Broadway today, 2 o'clock, packed, 3 o'clock. And Amazon says that, oh, well, we're going to reroute the cars off of Broadway to other places. Where do they go? Blosser's impact, College's impact. All of these streets are in. There's no other way for them to go except on all the arterials. Even Miller, they'll probably go down Miller. You know how bad traffic is now? It'll be a lot worse if we allow us to have this warehouse where it's supposed to be sited. Sited over there.
Thank you. Kenny Nieves, followed by Michael Boyer. There, Kenny Nieves? No? Okay, Michael Boyer?
Good evening, Chair and Commissioners. I'm Michael Boyer. I'm the CEO of the Santa Maria Valley Chamber of Commerce. I'm here speaking in support of the Stoll Road project, representing the local business community. This is a $30 million private investment in Santa Maria that brings real economic value. It generates ongoing property tax revenue, creates demand for local vendors, puts money into our economy immediately. During construction, the project will support local businesses every single day: hotels, restaurants, fuel suppliers, equipment rentals, material providers. Over the construction period, that translates to millions of dollars in local wages and spending, not somewhere else, but right here. Once operational, the facility supports hundreds of jobs, including warehouse workers and delivery drivers. With competitive hourly pay and benefits, these are the jobs that help people live, work locally, and support other small businesses throughout the community. What matters to business owners like me is the project also pays its own way, funding major sewer upgrades and investing millions of dollars to improve Stoll Road corridor, making it work better than it does today. Projects like this are how communities grow stronger through private investment, job creation, infrastructure improvements, and long-term economic opportunity. I strongly encourage the Commission to support this project and help move it forward for the future of Santa Maria. Thank you.
Thank you. Laura Henderson, followed by Sal Hernandez.
Good evening, Commissioners. Laura Henderson, 313 East Las Flores. I'm here tonight representing families, students, and neighborhoods. As a teacher whose classroom faces Stoll Road, I'm deeply concerned that the project still undermines both student safety and learning conditions. The high-volume delivery facility would bring constant vehicle traffic, noise, vibrations, air pollution directly beside classrooms and nearby homes. I really appreciate Commissioner Seifert and Commissioner Blanco's questions about the traffic. I don't think those questions have been answered. I don't think that we see down the line how we can really hold anybody accountable for this. And the fact is that our schools in Santa Maria have increasing enrollment, unlike other communities that have decreasing enrollment. So we really do need to look at our future. Heavier congestion increases safety risks for students and families walking and biking. I travel this route daily, multiple times. The high school students, they cross wherever, and even if there is a light, there needs to be a light regardless. They're going to cross wherever with ear pods in groups, not looking at all points along Stoll. We need to think about them. Beyond traffic concern, facilities like this can negatively affect surrounding neighborhoods and schools through air pollution, persistent noise, and accelerated road deterioration. I agree that this does not belong here. Maybe it does exist, but not in this location. While job creation is important, I'm union, my family's union, I support you too. We need to employ you and have great jobs. It doesn't belong here. It must be weighed against the impacts on schools, our children, our future. Your child's gonna be going to our schools. We need to think about them. My 4- and 5-year-old students play on Stoll Road with a chain link fence and this much sidewalk between all the traffic they want to bring in. I'm not comfortable with that. I'm out there all the time making sure a ball doesn't go over so that they stay safe. Please urge each of you to prioritize safety, growth, and protecting the health and quality of our families. Thank you.
Thank you. Sal Hernandez, followed by Vladimir Nunez.
Good evening, chairpersons. I'm a member of the local union 220. You can see that we're strong. We're very strong, and we'll build this building. So we approve this. Thank you.
Thank you. That's Vladimir Nunez, followed by Claire Weinman.
Good evening. My name is Vladimir Nunez. I live off of Miller and Enos. This project, if passed, will benefit the livelihoods of my current members and the future members whom can firsthand see the benefits of joining a skilled trade that changes and has changed my life for the better. I have only had the opportunity to work locally once in my career, and it's such an amazing feeling to drive on East Betaravia and look at my son and tell him, hey, I was a part of that. Nonetheless, please consider my request, and yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Claire Weinman, followed by Sergio Barragan. We're almost done.
Good evening. My name is Claire Weinman, and I'm the president of the Grower Shipper Association of Santa Barbara and San Luis Obispo counties. The Stoll Road Specific Plan area represents long-term commitments and significant investment in essential infrastructure for a number of our members. Many more need time-sensitive access through Stoll Road and to these agricultural support facilities. What we want is safe and efficient travel through Stoll Road, especially between Blosser and Black. We have raised our concerns consistently, and they have been improperly dismissed. We pointed out fatal flaws in the EIR and project assumptions. Most recently, SOMAC, Simmons, and Dunn submitted comments on behalf of the association for this hearing. Project traffic will decrease roadway safety. Congestion, the mix of type of vehicles, and the curve at the location will create unique safety challenges that have not been addressed. The EIR fails to adequately analyze impacts to traffic safety, as well as agricultural operations and land use. The response to EIR comments repeatedly confirms the potential for a significant impact from conflicts while trying to dismiss them, and has certainly not mitigated them in the project before you today. The seasonal timing of the traffic study, which was performed off-peak season for ag, is misleading, and the hourly dispatch graph still does not capture the cumulative impact of adding the project vehicles, which is also misleading. We outlined what acceptable mitigation measures or project conditions would be and why they're important. Although we share interest in smooth passage to 101, our primary concerns are along the immediate project segment have not been addressed. As such, we must oppose the project as currently presented. What's before you today is not a similar use that will not be obnoxious or detrimental to the public welfare. The Planning Commission cannot certify the EIR and cannot make the required findings of use compatibility. The project must either adequately address these concerns or be denied. Thank you for your response to these concerns important to our community. Thank you.
Thank you. Sergio Barragan, followed by Danny Zaragoza.
Good evening. I'm in favor of this project. I was born here. I was raised here. My mom and dad met each other here. My dad he ran a dairy for 23 years. There's no more dairies. It's progress, it's progress. Things change, and I'm in favor of this project. Thank you.
Thank you. Danny Zaragoza, followed by Carol Karamitsos.
Good evening, Commissioner. My name is Danny Zaragoza, and I am the Secretary-Treasurer for Labor's Local 220. We represent about over 2,500 members in Kern, San Luis Obispo, and Santa Barbara counties. We are in favor of this project because, one, it's going to be built union. Two, it's going to have local hire. Three, it's going to be built with skilled laborers, craftsmen, craftswomen. Also, two, it's going to be providing entry-level jobs for apprentices. The salaries on it, or the hourly wages for this project, we're going to range anywhere from $26 an hour to over $50 an hour. So those are livable wages, or I like to say they're mortgage-paying wages. In addition, it'll include benefits, health care for families, retirement, and also annuities. So yeah, so we're in favor of the project, and we hope you are too. Thank you.
Thank you. Carol Karamitsos.
Good evening. I was actually born on Stoll Road 63 years ago. I've lived on Speed next to Stoll for over 30 years. This project's been neatly packaged, with a pun intended, to the obvious detriment of our community due to its location in the city. I also support unions. I want you guys to have jobs. This site is just not the right job, as it's been stated. This presented analysis has made generous concessions and has ignored obvious harm and impact by using paltry optional mitigating plans, choose one, as stated this evening by the lead planner. You're being asked to approve this project by only agreeing to, quote, overriding considerations and postscript fixes. Contrary to statements tonight, one can easily document this company's hostility towards labor, including unions. To imply that the delivery of packages is an industry for this area, I believe is quite a stretch. But if you're going to use that, then follow it through. The industry then is delivery trucks and vans. And this is the wrong place to put that kind of industry. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. I'll go back. Earlier, there was a Peggy Breerton. I don't know if that person's still here or not. Doesn't look like it. So that was the last public comment. So with that, let's close the public comment period and bring it back to the commission for any additional questions or discussion, followed by any motions. So any additional questions? Yes.
Sorry to interrupt, Mr. Chair. Heather Woodham, Assistant City Attorney. I do believe the applicant asked for a little bit of time to rebut any of the comments made by the speakers. I think it would probably be appropriate to oblige that and give him a few minutes to do that before you deliberate.
Absolutely. Yep. If you wish to come up and rebut anything, feel free.
We appreciate all the public comments. Don't have anything in particular here. Obviously, varying opinions on this. I think the underscoring of local jobs is really important. Those are not minimum wage jobs. They're not. They're living wage jobs, and they're not higher degree, master's degree jobs. They're jobs that the community needs. We need all kinds of jobs in a range of them. So I would look at this as an employment ladder to really helping our young people get a start and get a foothold going here. Thank you.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Kind of following up on that, there was a lot of assumptions that I don't know where those come from. To speak on behalf of my client, no one's forcing anyone to work, right? Here's the benefit of having jobs, and a lot of jobs in an area is it creates wage growth, right? More jobs, less people, the wages go up, right? It's simple kind of economic. I studied economics, got a master's in economics. So more wages will create upward wage pressure, right? It's not some concentration camp where Amazon is going to force everyone to go work for cheap, right? They can leave. It is going to help the overall economic benefit of this area, okay? So I just want to clarify that because I think a lot of the comments were false that were made and unfortunate. I think we should vote on the merits of the planning and what this project is instead of kind of broad false assumptions that are not true. That's all.
Thank you. Okay. So let's bring it back to the commission for any additional questions or deliberation and any motions or additional questions, I guess.
Thank you, Chair. I don't have any additional questions. I think that it's definitely good to hear the public comment. And while I understand and respect the concerns raised regarding traffic impacts, I understand this decision also has great weight to it. I think it's important to note that the project is subject to mitigation measures, monitoring requirements, operational conditions, and traffic management improvements intended to address such impacts. I also believe it's important to consider the long-term economic and employment benefits project that would bring to Santa Maria. It's huge for our residents. The project also represents a significant investment to land that has been planned for such use 30 plus years ago. And it's also complementing the surrounding uses already there, the agricultural distribution, warehouse operations. Like I said, it's creating the needed employment opportunities while also helping reducing the need for many of our residents to leave town and commute to other jobs out there. I think the development would deliver permanent city infrastructure improvements that go beyond just the development, but for the city itself. And I think that all of that warrants substantial community benefits to support approval. That's my take on it.
Okay. Commissioner Seifert, any other questions or
I
comments?
don't have any questions. We've had the study sessions. We've seen the speakers before. I don't think I've ever seen this many people at a planning commission in my time, and I want to thank everybody for coming out and giving us your opinions. It's really important. As you can see, there's only 3 of us up here. Normally we have 5. It's always better for everybody's in the community to have 5, but because of conflicts, we're down to 3. This is a tough situation because we do have people on both sides of the fence here as far as what's best for the city, what's best for our community. And I was the one that raised a lot of the questions as far as the traffic, the mitigations, what is this actually going to bring to our community? And I think that the jobs is a huge thing. I am concerned about the future of the jobs, which I spoke before, but it's going to bring jobs immediately and it's going to bring jobs long term. And as Dave Cross brought up with the 1,000 in the pipeline right now for new residences, people are going to need a living wage, and they're going to need to make some decent money in order to pay those mortgages, those rent fees, the food. Hopefully prices come down soon, but there's no guarantee that's going to happen. So every day we seem to have to make more money just to make ends meet. I believe, I know I'm old, but I believe $29 an hour is a pretty decent wage. As far as I'm not sure what the work is going to be, but I believe that's probably a pretty good compensation for what they're doing. We did hear some complaints about the working conditions, and as an employer in the state of California, I can guarantee you from experience that employees have most of the rights in California, as far as bathroom breaks, as far as regular breaks, as far as compensation for time off, whatever it is. The California employees are very well taken care of by the state through the laws. So if any of these things were actually happening, missing bathroom breaks, missing breaks, that's huge right there, and that's a huge fine to the employer. And the employer knows this, and they're not going to, I would doubt that an employer of this size would actually allow that type of behavior to happen, because it's going to come back on them tenfold. You can't mistreat employees in California. It's just, it doesn't make sense, and you won't be in business long if you try. So as far as the working conditions in the warehouse, these are jobs that people are going to come to, they're going to apply to. They're making the choice to work there. They don't have to work there. They don't have to apply. They don't have to do this job if it's that big of a problem. So as far as that goes, I think it is going to be a helpful thing to our community. We don't have any land available on the other side of the freeway that I've been told through different study sessions. This came up before as far as going on the other side of the freeway, and the land wasn't available. We've since then, we're trying to annex land into the community, 900 acres. It has to go through LAVCO. I was at a meeting the other day. The representative from LAVCO said, I think in 2022, they annexed one lot that was subdivided into 4 lots in the Santa Barbara County. It's a very tough road where we're headed down trying to get this land incorporated into our community. So we have an opportunity here to bring someone in that's willing to put influx of money into our community immediately and for the long term. There's definitely some trade-offs. I'm very concerned on the traffic, but I've been told on every meeting and shown by the charts, shown by the experts, that these mitigation features that we're talking about are actually going to help the traffic. And I'm as skeptical as anyone else. How can you have more traffic and have it come better? But this is what we keep hearing, what we keep seeing. The data is showing it. So I'm really hoping that that's true. The mitigation factors on Stoll that you're talking about with Public Works here, Mark, you know, you guys you know the streets, and I hope that these mitigation features that you've talked about are adequate for a project of this size. I know we're talking about adding quite a bit of commercial traffic to our streets. Hopefully the peak times are not the same like we've been shown, and we're going to monitor that, and hopefully we have some kind of way to mitigate that in the future if there's a problem. So I've really struggled with this one. We've never had so much public input on a project, and I'm the guy up here always saying, please come to the meetings and please tell us what you think. And in the past, the carpenters have come to the meetings to tell us they didn't want the project. So now you guys are all here and you want the project. So that's right there, that's something new. So I'm really leaning towards supporting the project, even with the factors that aren't perfect. I'm really hoping that through the hard work of our staff, through Public Works, through the architect, through the engineers and the traffic, that these features really are mitigated, and the traffic on Stoll gets better, that we create jobs for our community, and that this is a successful project. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner Seifert. This is definitely the toughest project maybe I've been a part of, and rightfully so, because there's a lot of input, a lot of studying to do. The 3 study sessions, like we mentioned, obviously this is the biggest crowd I think I can remember as well. There are definitely a lot of concerns, and traffic was definitely one of them. Safety has come up repeatedly. I think those things, although they're been mitigated a little bit, I think there's still some hope that they'll be mitigated correctly. I think that with any project, there's risk, but there's definitely, there's a sense of higher risk with this because of the magnitude of the project. It's obviously a big project. It's not a small project. Just looking at the footprint of it, I mean, we're talking about 4 football fields of warehouse space. Where do we have anything like this in the city? Nowhere. So we have no experience with this. You know, the VMT thing, I mean, that's the nature of their business. I get it. How do you mitigate that? And I started to think, well, you know, I guess location is the only way to mitigate it because they're way across town. I mean, they have to get to the 101, so that really maximizes that VMT. And, you know, I'm sure if we looked at the analysis, there's a site that reduces that, maybe to insignificant. I don't know, maybe it's still significant, but I do believe, and I did mention that at the study session, I think it's not the best site, quite frankly. That's just honestly my opinion. It's a site that's available, and so it makes business sense. But is it the best site? I don't think so. I really don't think so. So where it would be on the east side, I don't know. The land isn't available, like Commissioner Seifert says. It's there. There's land. I mean, there's definitely land. It's not developed. Is it available? Well, it's not available today. Would it be available? Could it be available? Certainly. There's land there. That to me would be a better site. I got to believe the VMT would be less at a site like that, just by the nature of the location. I'm trying to think about the finding of statement of overriding considerations is, you know, the economic benefit on the total numbers look good. I just have a feeling long-term, what's the viability of the real economic impact, you know? I think, is the economic impact going to be greater? I don't know how you measure this, greater than the social impact? I don't know. So that casts some doubt in my mind because I think right now the jobs numbers are probably as good as it's going to be, right? Because even though we don't know the future of automation, I don't think the applicant or anybody would know the future of automation, but we know it's going to go that way. You know, this applicant owner is investing a lot of money in automation. Why wouldn't you? It's the biggest cost to any organization is labor. How would you not try to reduce labor with the opportunity to automate? You know, reports of large investments, hundreds of billions of dollars in investment in automation, that's not going to be thrown away on nothing. They're going to need to see a return on that investment, and that investment is going to be reducing labor. So I do believe in the long term that the jobs are not going to hold up. They're not going to be there. There's not going to be 588 jobs in perpetuity here, and I think there's no guarantee that we can get that, you know. The immediate jobs, I totally understand, you know, the local jobs, the opportunities right now. Those are also short term. And I don't know that long-term viability and value to the community is going to hold up. So I have some serious doubts about that. And we'll be left holding the bag potentially for, you know, and the price, right? We'll be paying the price long term. Long after this project is implemented, the citizens will still be paying. This community will still be paying for many years to come. And that's tough to swallow. It's a tough pill to swallow. So I have some concerns. I don't think it's the best location. I don't have a problem with the operation. I don't have a problem with what they're trying to do. I think there's a better opportunity somewhere. It might not be right before us, but I think there's a better opportunity elsewhere. So, thank you. So with that, do we have any other further discussion or motions to approve or decline?
Well, I mean, at this time, I'd like to make a motion.
Go ahead, Commissioner Seibert.
By motion, I'd like to approve the Plan Development Permit PD 2024-003 as conditioned.
I think we need to certify the EIR first by resolution.
Yes.
Sorry, Commissioner Seibert.
I went through the wrong one.
There'll be
By
two.
resolution, certify the environmental impact report prepared for this proposed project including or stop?
Chair, members of the
If we
commission.
could take them one at a time,
One at a time.
the environmental impact report first, and
Can't hear me?
there was also the one correction to one of the mitigation measures. If Mr. Albro could help us, I believe it was TR-3 for the VMT. The recommendation from planning was to make that correction.
Correct.
So yes, one at a time, doing the environmental first, please.
Going to have to change the street. Okay.
And
By
so the
resol-
environmental includes the certification, including the findings, the mitigation monitoring and reporting program adoption, and the adoption of the statement of overriding considerations.
So is this where I add the TR3, or is it already added?
You could just say that your motion would include the modification to the one mitigation. What did I call it? TR3.
So this motion would include the modification to TR3, VMT miles traveled, by resolution certified that the environmental impact report prepared for this proposed project.
We have a first, do we have a second?
I'd second.
We have a second, can we get a roll call, Kathleen?
Commissioner Seifert.
Aye.
Commissioner Mohajer.
Aye.
Chair Blanco.
No.
By motion, I would say that we approve plan development PD 2024-003 as conditioned.
We have a first, do we have a second?
I second.
We have a second, can we get a roll call, Kathleen?
Commissioner Seifert.
Aye.
Commissioner Mohajer.
Aye.
Chair Blanco.
No. Motion carries. Thank you very much, everybody. Thanks for coming out.
Is that correct? The motion carried?
Okay. I know. Ugh. Council was here last night till like, I don't know, 10 o'clock or something. Yeah, they were late, yeah. Give every. Yeah, yeah. Okay, let's go ahead and finish up the. Yeah, thank you very much. Thanks. We're going to finish a few more items and we'll be done. Thank you. So let's go on to reports by staff. Frank, do we have any, or Shannon?
Thank you, Chair. The one thing I would like to mention is that tomorrow we do have a study session. The item is Figueroa Tires. It's a conditional use permit. But please note that the study session will be in the Moon Room at 110 South Pine, not at the library.
Thank you for the reminder. yeah.
Tomorrow, yes.
Yeah, Moon Room.
Thank you.
All right. And Shannon, I know you have an announcement.
Yes, I will be quick because I know we have 3 new parents up here and we want to get you all home to your newborns. So it is with bittersweet to me to announce that this is Frank's last Planning Commission meeting. So after decades in public service and 17 years with the city of Santa Maria, he is retiring. And he has done just a tremendous job I've only been here a year and a half, but you've just so impressed me in the short time that I've had the opportunity to work with you. And I know he's done a tremendous amount on the airport-specific plan, Rivergate Romer-specific plans, managing housing elements. He started as an associate planner and worked up to senior and principal planner since he's been here, and it will be a tremendous loss. So thank you, Frank, for all of your work, and you will be missed.
Congratulations, Frank. Yeah, congratulations. Best wishes in retirement.
And Frank, you know, I don't always agree with you, but you're always a pleasure to work with, and you always are very concise and clear and try to explain everything just as clearly as it can be, and I want to thank you for that.
I appreciate
Absolutely.
that. Thank you very much, and I've appreciated working with all of you. And I keep considering maybe I should stay another, but then I say no. It's time to go.
You're good to go.
So thank you very much.
Yeah, you're welcome. Frank, what are you doing for retirement? What's going on? What's your plans?
No longer working.
No longer working. That's the key.
Yes. Although I will say that my wife has some plans for me.
Yeah,
So
of course.
including a shirt that says house spouse.
Yeah.
That so.
There you go. Honeydews.
I'm getting really good at washing dishes now too.
Oh, good. All right. Well, don't make it a habit.
Oh well. My wife would disagree.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Well, excellent, Frank. Thank you so much.
Congratulations.
Appreciate it. Congratulations too. Best
Way
wishes.
cool.
Well deserved.
Thank you.
Thank you for everything. But we'll still see you tomorrow, though.
Correct.
Okay. Okay. Just making sure. Okay.
Gonna be with like shorts and a Hawaiian shirt? Or?
Yeah. Flip flops.
That could be arranged.
That can be arranged.
Yeah.
Flip flops. Nice. You going to the beach right
Some
after?
tie dye. Maybe.
Oh, there you go. There you go. Awesome. All right. Well, congrats again, Frank. Anything else from staff? No? Nothing else? Okay. Reports from commissioners? Anything? Anything else? No? Okay. We're adjourned. See you tomorrow at the Moon Room.